Evening, fellow AIM alumni. Welcome to the AIM Entrepreneur Series. Today we have the Development Entrepreneur. We have three speakers from the Government of India, Indian Administrative Service and their allied services. They are all MDM alumni. Two of them are 2011 and one is 2012. And to do the moderation, we have senior IAS and senior MDM alumni 1991 and AAA awardee Malini Shankar. So Malini, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Nikhil. So welcome to all of you this evening as we take you along a journey into, through the eyes and works of three of our alumni who worked for the government over the last few years. We start with Bhargavi Dave, who is a 2011 MDM alumni, as Nikhil has said. She has been deeply involved in a lot of work in her home state of Gujarat, where she is working in the Rural Development Department now. And she's won several awards, including the SCOC Awards and the Millennium Goal Awards, etc. Over to you, Bhargavi, to tell us about your work and regale us with some insights into how you went about it. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Namaskar. And I would like to share some of my experience. I have 29 years of experience with government and especially with the regulatory as well as the development sector. And we have a limited time and I have to finish within 8 to 10 minutes. I would like to share some of my projects which I have taken when I was posted as a district development officer as well as a director district rural development agency. So for us, health, education, women empowerment and employment generation is the most important thing in a rural development. So I'll just narrate with one of my projects that is about the Gyan Setu. Gyan Setu is an initiative taken by District Panchayat Ahmedabad. So it's about Gyan Setu is an initiative to create an understanding between urban and rural students and to bridge the gap between the urban and rural students. When I say urban students, they may be street smart. But in my 29 years of career, almost I have worked 25 years in the various districts. So I have seen these rural students. These students, they are not just street smart, but they are sometimes far better than our children. If you send them in a queue, they will catch the bus, they will catch the train easily. They have a very good sharing and they know their surroundings, they know the nature very well. So there are some peculiarities about the rural student also. So when I put this idea before our education committee, for all our political people, politically elected wing as well as for our executive wing. So people said, why don't they adopt? I said, I don't like the word adopt because both of them have some peculiarity. And I have taken this project as I was a district development officer, you can say CEO Jilla Parishad of Ahmedabad district. So at that time, they are the best school in Ahmedabad. At the same time, we have nearly 465 schools in the various rural area of Ahmedabad district. So one side we have a best school and other side we have a government school. So how to bridge this gap and how to use the best schools and best teacher and the best student of the government aided or government funded or private owned school with our government school. So that's why we have developed the MOU and in the presence of the Honorable CM, we did this MOU and 51 schools of government school and 51 reputed school of the Ahmedabad district. They had a MOU and then exchange program begins with the students. So it is not just a celebration. I would like to say that it's about sharing of the method of teaching, sharing of the literature, sharing of the extra material or whatever the rich student of the urban schools they have. So it's like a very, you can say very kind of a very social development type of a program where they have not only celebrated the festival, but they have exchanged their idea. Once in a, once in a 15 days, teacher from those schools, they come to government school, and our teacher, they used to go to that private or government funded reputed school. And then they have a science competition, science quiz, and how they have write the essay, both they have a different mindset. How they understand the values, they have a different mindset. And sharing is a very big trouble in urban area because mostly the double income single child concept is there. So they don't have any sibling to share anything with them. While in rural areas, still they have two to three siblings. So they know sharing. So year by year, they are sharing the books, they are sharing their material, they are sharing the stationaries and all these things. And meanwhile, we have find out that very good result has come out. They have start writing a letter to each other. Those who can access the mail, they have started conversation on the mail, and at the same time, they have visited each other's house also. So, if I tell you, you find it's a very small thing, but it's a big thing. That a small child, hardly 10-year-old, uh, staying in a village, studying in a village school, he is not only visiting the urban school, but he is visiting the residence also of the student. So it's a kind of a to bridge the gap between the urban and rural, poor and rich. And this has resulted in a very good, this has given us a very good outcome where sometimes they have learned from our teachers also. Because in government, the teachers training is one of the best training. With all the kind of the criticism education is facing, but still I can say the teachers training and the government and Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, now Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, the money they are spending on the training as well as the literature development and material development for the teachers, they are one of the best. While in private schools, the teachers themselves, they are well educated, they are coming from a rather good background, upper middle class also, and some are coming, some are not just coming for the job, but they are coming to satisfy themselves. Because sometimes the what you call the lady teacher, they are coming from a very good background, but when they are when the children grew up, what they will do? So they will started working in private school. So there is a very good amalgamation also, and learning from both the sides. So our teacher, they have learned uh, how they teach, especially English, mathematics, and science. Same time, they learn these private school and government funded schools, government aided school. They have come to our school and they have learned that how they are managing within the poor resources, even how the rural children, they have told they are more disciplined. They are more disciplined. They have a more respect for teachers, and there is a very good community living in the rural student, especially in the time of the what you call this any disaster, whether it's a flood or a famine or anything, they will help each other. And in school also, in government school also, we have a system that where the most clever student, most bright student, they will adopt two to three or five those students who are weak in the studies. So this is our system. That system has also been adopted by the private school. So that is also a big achievement. Then we have a very good nursery. We have a very good kitchen garden, and we have a community living. So midday meal. So where all the children, they are sitting together, they are praying, they are eating all the food, and then they are cleaning their utensils, and again they sit together. This kind of a things you won't find in a big school, big private school, because where the group of the students, they sit separately and they will have their own breakfast or they will have their own lunch or whatsoever, or their own snacks. So these are the things, and finally it has helped. Then it has helped us a lot. Then with one of the school, we had a MOU. It is the most prestigious school of the Ahmedabad, CN Vidyalaya. It is more than 100-year-old school. You can see their alumni also. So this school, they have a very good teachers training institute where they have taught our teachers for the free, for the English as well as the computer. And the other most important thing that we have selected 5 students from the each school, government school, and they have come for a 1 month resident program at this school, and they have learned many things like science lab, computer lab, how to utilize them, and especially for the English. Because in the rural area, the English is the main problem. Sometimes teacher also. It has been now from the 5th standard we used to teach them English. But there are still some constraints. So these teachers, we have trained more than 100 teachers, and we have one NRI, Mr. Arvind Patel, who was working with the Intel Boston, and he also helped us. Every summer he used to come to our district for the 2 months, and he used to train the teacher and on Saturday and Sunday, free of cost. So all these things, these helped us a lot, and finally it has helped the students. So when we have a national merit scholarship exam for the students, so our district stood first, and all these students, so those who have appeared, they have crossed the distinction mark. This happened for the first time. So national merit, the outcome is that they have got the position in the national merit as well as the government of Gujarat fellowship exam. So this is one of the best things. And the other thing that the private school students, they like is about the sharing, about the love and affection. They learn about the nature. They have first time seen the farms. And some of the urban students, they were not able to even recognize or name 10 trees or 15 flowers. They have started learning all these things.
Bhargavi, it sounds very interesting. I think it's an excellent initiative. People are bound to have a lot of questions on it. So we can finish the the presentation of the other two, then we can actually explore this more in the question, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting initiative, and I know how difficult it is in government to move this. So those are the questions that will come to you. So may I thank you so much, Bhargavi.
Thank you.
May I now request Praveen Mishra, who is a MDM graduate of AIM 2011. He's got 24 years of experience, and he's now the additional CEO of Noida. In fact, the interesting thing is he's actually written a book called Encounter, which is a book published on the digitization of revenue records. Very interesting. But let's hear what he has to talk about. The floor is yours, Praveen.
Thanks, ma'am, and good afternoon, everybody. Actually, like Bhargavi, I would also like to share the social aspect of the development.
Bhargavi, can you
let me share,
please, so that he can share?
Just ma'am, let me share this only.
Yes, Praveen.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I'm ready. Actually, ma'am, as an ACO, Noida Authority has to take care of Noida Metro Rail Corporation also. And simultaneously, I am in charge of NMRC, Noida Metro Rail Corporation. The social development aspect that I would like to share here.
Praveen, would you like to put it on full screen?
Okay, ma'am. Let me share it.
If it's possible, otherwise continue. No problem. No problem. Continue.
Right, ma'am. Right, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Interestingly, ma'am, and everybody, this idea came to me in the Philippines itself. When I was there and I could be connected with the transgender person there in Manila, I found their condition is far better when we compare it with our Indian trans population. I became ED here, and I thought that since I am in policy, I am in decision-making authority, I can just initiate something for the transgender trans population. It was a hypothesis of mine. If any particular station is dedicated for the transgenders, this will give them token elevation at one hand. And if we let the station operated by those people only, this will generate sort of self-confidence in them, and streamlining of those people will be possible through this initiative. No doubt the aims studies, particularly problem identification, stakeholder analysis, and leadership aspect of co-ownership, specifically the social marketing, that helped me in realizing this idea. For validation of this hypothesis, everyone knows that in government it's difficult and you have to be very much precise with your data, and when you carry forward the idea, you have to be equipped also with all the legal aspect that we did. Actually, in trans population, there are three kinds of people: trans men, trans women, and intersex people who are having intersex variation. The main problem with the transgender people was that their gender, which is assigned to them at birth, doesn't match with their individuality. They always feel trapped. And when they start behaving differently, suppose someone is born as male, after 6 years or 8 years, he thinks that he is female, and he starts behaving like that. Family, society, everyone start ridicule them, and they feel dejected. Here, just for putting forward that 5 lakh people are as per 2011 census, 5 lakh people were transgenders. And why did I think that transgender station in Noida would help them? Actually, in surrounding of Noida, in eastern side of Delhi, there are at least 30 to 35,000 transgender people. These people, they don't have any particular job. Most of them are, you can see them at the signals, they are begging, they are engaged in sex trading also. Some of them are educated, but despite education, despite their level of education, they are unable to find good job in mainstream. Noida, whatever you do in Noida, is likelihood of being replicated is very high. So sometimes I thought that if we do it in Noida, definitely it will be replicated in other districts also. Sunil, you must be knowing the ridership and demography and the strategic advantage of location of sector 50, that we decided that it would be Rainbow Station. The name has always the name has given by the trans community itself, and now it has been christened as Rainbow Station. We have to make a roadmap for that. We assessed we went into depth just to assess the current status of trans community in Delhi NCR region, and as I told you that what they are doing now and how desperately those people seek the opportunity of employment and other things. We undertook consultation with the NGOs, and we assessed the required skill as well as the skill set of the trans community, and the road how to overcome the gap between the two. The interaction with NGOs was very, very useful for us. It did not only sharpen the idea of mine or of my team, but they put up very interesting points in front of us. For example, they challenged our binary notion of security checks, coaches. They said that, okay, if some trans person is male and he is fixed by female, male one, but he thinks he is female, he would be having a problem. Similarly, if he enters into a coach, he thinks that he's a female, but girl there may shout and he may feel embarrassment. There is no gender neutral restroom as such. And in the HR policies, name and pronouns should be there as per their own choice. With all other general problems, they particularly focused on the part that identity documents. They said that if company or NMRC may help in just documentation of their identity, that would be very much helpful for them. As you know that case studies become integral part of ours after having studied in AIIMS. We all the initiative that has been undertaken, we took it up as case study, or I personally took it up as case studies. And what example that I could find out, I tried to replicate here in NMRC also. Though in NMRC it was first move as such, but definitely some good initiative have been adopted. I read the book autobiographies of these Manvi Bandyopadhyay, Lakshminarayan Tripathi, Revati, and this also broadened the horizons of mine. And definitely when you are in bureaucracy and you want something to be legally approved by the board or by the senior officers, and you have to challenge and counter the hurdles, you have to be very much equipped with the legal aspects also. That I studied and I put it up in very straight manner in front of senior officers, and ultimately all of them agreed. Now we are in position of recruitment, and I think in a couple of weeks only we will be in position to just showcase our station 50 as transgender station only, or as rainbow station and station only, and we will welcome all of you to come here, visit, and see that how can a small initiative change the life of transgender. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Praveen, for so succinctly bringing us to, making us aware of a field which is actually quite extraordinary. Thank you. Our last speaker for the evening is Nitin Panigrahi, who is the DTM of Shahjahanabad Redevelopment Corporation. He specializes in people-centric mobility planning, and you're going to talk to us on Chandni Chowk replanning. That's what it is. Very exciting. Yes. Go ahead.
Well, in fact, when I joined AIIMS Manila in 2012, there was a big gap about making the ideation into the action. And the AIIMS has helped us to understand that how to identify the problem and how to work for the solutions. Whether we talk about the rapid area assessment, whether you talk about how to go for the stakeholder consultation, and how to go for the monitoring and evaluation of the projects, which we generally formulate and put it into the practice. And always, I remember the professors always used to say that the MDM's major thrust is on 3 Ps. Though the marketing graduates, they talked about the 4 Ps, we have been emphasized upon 3 Ps, which is planet, people, and profit. So we have to always create a balance between these 3 Ps, planet, people, and profit. That is a USP of AIIMS, and especially the MDM. And in fact, I always remember whenever I'm working for something in any of these initiatives, this 3 thing has to be there. So that is why this redevelopment or regeneration program has got all the elements. I have taken over this particular position in 2014, And that was a time, it was already 7 years, the SRDC was formed, but it has not moved forward. So I have put a comprehensive, entire thing into the comprehensive framework, and I have prepared one plan for the preliminary project concept for the entire Old Delhi for funding and technical assistance from Asian Development Bank. But then the government has decided that we should come up with some program, some project, which should be a quick win for the people and which should be demonstrative of our intention and objectives, and it should also help us to show the way forward. So in 2014, I've joined. In 2016, it was luckily the Honorable High Court has appointed me the nodal officer, which has given me the much more that legal that which the province was also talking, that we have to also see the legality of anything which we do, and it has provided an impetus to the entire redevelopment of Chandni Chowk project. So because there are so many talks are happening that what is this redevelopment project and why it is been talked about so much in different media, whether we talk about the print or electronic. So I'll just go through the few slides to make you understand what is it all about. And then I would like to go for many question and answers sessions, so where we can give it detailing. So basically, if you see, this entire street is of 1.4 kilometer from Red Fort to Fatehpuri Mosque. Shahjahanabad was established in 1600 AD, around 1648 AD, by the Shahjahan, the Mughal emperor. And if you see, the character has not changed in these 400 years. And this entire area works as a fulcrum of the old city. And it is one of the oldest market in Asia. So this becomes very much important for us, that how it should be, the redevelopment has to taken place, that it should not lose its heritage character or any of the cultural aspect of this entire region. So this is the view from the Fatehpuri Mosque side. At the one end, it is a Fatehpuri Mosque. At the other end, it is a Red Fort. And interestingly, if you go to this street, if you have been there, this is one such street where you'll find the first it comes a Jain Mandir, then there is a Gauri Sankan temple. Then if you walk further on the right hand side, you'll find a church. Further you go, Seesganj Gurdwara Sahib, and then we have got the Sunehri Masjid. At the end, there is a Fatehpuri Mosque. An entire area is full of your food street. And in fact, we have also planned about the cultural mapping of entire area. So this is a one street which can show you the entire country into the national integration perspective, if you talk about the secularism and many more things. So this is that street, the Chandni Chowk street. Though it was not looking like this, I'll show you how it was and how it is looking now. So there are the three main chokes are there. And this is a street where the 3.5 meter, the central median is there, where we have placed the transformers, and it is for use for the plantation. And on the both side of this median, central median, there's a 5.5 meter. On the both side, there's a NMV lane, non-motorized vehicle lane. And then further, we have got a footpath, which is 5.5 meter to 11 meters. Somewhere it is 5.5, somewhere it is 6, but it is minimum 5.5 and maximum at 11.5 meters. So this for the entire footpath is there from 9 AM to 9 PM. The entire street will be your pedestrianized street or NMV street. So it is going to be very soothing, and when you go in the morning, you'll find it very nice. You can walk around and you can see the beautiful buildings, though which are dilapidated, but yes, they have got charm in it. And it has got a three major junction, which is a Red Fort Junction, Fountain Chowk Junction, which is just opposite to the Seesganj Gurdwara, and then the Town Hall Junction, which is of British era. So this is at Red Fort Junction. Here we are going to experiment with the scramble crossing. Here the scramble crossing, when we're talking the scramble crossing, the entire traffic will be closed for a few minutes, and the pedestrian can walk from any side of the street to any side. So this is going to be one of the first kind of a scramble crossing. Here also we are going to make a change little bit in the street design. If you see on the streets, most of the cars stop at the zebra crossing. They don't cross, they don't stop at this
Where is Nitin?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I think, I think,
I think he wanted to show a video. That's my guess.
I think we can join.
Um,
Till that time, we
I
want to
think
ask any
while
question.
we wait for him,
Mali, would you like to ask a question?
yeah, there's a question for Praveen. It says, you know, somebody wants to ask you a question, but he's not typed it in, but I presume the question will be the same as mine. It's a very unique social, you know, initiative that you've taken. And in a place like
Thanks,
Noida, which is in UP. Now, was there any opposition to this, and how did you overcome this opposition from various quarters, starting from the leaders or the public?
Actually, ma'am, initially in my teammates, also my staff, they were also very much hesitant that how would it happen and how will the staff members will work with the transgender person.
can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Please, Nitin.
Yeah, just Praveen, just 1 second. So, Nitin, are you ready to continue?
Yeah, ma'am. In
Okay,
fact, I'm
please.
sorry, I lost
Yeah,
the
please
connection.
do, please do. Sorry, Praveen. We'll just get back to you.
Keep on.
Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Are you
Yeah,
sure?
so I was talking about the scramble crossing at the Red Fort Junction.
Hmm. Nitin, are you still there?
Like to share your screen, Nitin?
Oh, lost him again.
He's come back. Unfortunately, he's having a connection problem at the wrong time.
Yeah, he's
I think
back.
there is some connectivity issue.
I know.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
so can you share the screen, Nitin, or you just like to verbalize?
I think I should go on verbal.
Yeah, just do that. Yeah, please.
Yeah, because I've shown you the menu, and when I'll get the screen again, I'll in the question answer session, I'll show the before and after. And in fact, I was talking about the Chandni Chowk redevelopment project. Can you hear? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're audible. Please continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So in fact, when we began with the Chandni Chowk redevelopment project, the biggest challenge was about fighting a perception battle, about restricting the cars. The people there, the traders, they have said we will be going to lose a business, and it will cause the inconvenience to the stoppers and the stoppers. But we have reasoned with them with the examples and with the data, and somehow they were all in the board, and we continued with the work.
Huh. Lost him again. We'll just wait a few seconds. Otherwise, we'll just go to the question session. Yeah, he's back.
Hello.
Nitin, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I can hear. Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. So in fact, we have been able to weed out almost 3,000 vehicles from the area, and the businesses, now the traders are on the board, and the businesses have gone high by almost 60%, despite the project is under process for implementation.
I don't know what's happening.
I think we'll just
Yeah. So I think
we'll go to the question.
Praveen, yeah, quick question answer.
Praveen, can you unmute yourself and just proceed with that? How you went about and how did you get consensus? In other words, because that's a difficult field that you addressed. Yeah.
Actually, ma'am, in UP, as you rightly observed, that already feudal mindset is here, and my teammates or my staff initially they were very much reluctant. First, they do have their presumption that capability doesn't lie with the transgenders, and they are assigned for particular job only. They will sing, they will song, and they will dance, and aside from these all things, they can't do anything. One. And second, man, the one who has to be subordinate of these transgender people, they did have their own reluctance also. So, ma'am, in my NMRC, I have to go for the training session only. We consulted with the NGOs and they sent their people. They are only my people, at least my company came to know the real problem of the transgender person. When they internalized the problem and they understood that, okay, something can be done by those people also. Now I think they are in a position just to tolerate or to bear with them. And after the work, they will be with them. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, but what was their first reaction when who proposed this, rainbow station concept, and what was the first reaction? That would have been a very interesting reaction.
Ma'am, since it was proposal of mine, so they can't. They were not in position to oppose it as such. But the way their facial behavior or their body language was definitely was like that only, that they are not ready to accept it, or they thought that sir is just its fanciful idea of sir or wishful thinking only. It can't be realized.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
I think Bhargavi, you come back to you because you wanted to tell us a lot more. What I would request you to do is give us an idea of this Gyan Setu. What were the outcomes? Was there any specific outcome that was measurable, as our MDM would say, it should be measurable? Were there any measurable outcomes, or were there any, would you like to share a few thoughts on that?
Yes, ma'am. All the each and everything cannot be measurable, as you can understand in a social development. But yes, measurable things I have narrated. That is about the national merit NMS exam, as well as the Government of Gujarat scholarship exam. We have seen the result. That results are improving. Same way, those bright students who have studied English and computer at a private school during the summer vacation, they have improved, and we have measured that even in the 10th result, in the result of the SSC, they have got 70% marks in both the subjects. So it is a measurable thing if you see in terms of the marks obtained by the student in the particular subject after 2 or 3 years intervention. 3 years intervention. So these are some measurable things. Other non-measurable things, that are the things that all these urban students, they have learned about how these people, they are doing farming, what are the, they have tried to understand this. They have what you call, not only understand, but they were able to identify the trees, shrubs, as well as the vegetables, and as well as all these yield taken in the farm. So that way it has helped both the urban and rural, both the students. So sometimes as an urban student, many of our children, they also don't know where potato grows, or how like you can have this kind of a grain or a rice, or how they just saw the rice. These things they don't know, because our life is such in an urban area that it's so mechanical. They'll sit in the van, they'll go to the school, they'll have they'll study, and they'll come back, and then we have extracurricular activity, whatsoever we decide as a parent. But here, they have their own choice. And here, as a part of this Gyan Setu, we have like a talent show of all the districts. Like Indian Idol, we have Ahmedabad Idol. So yes, so the children who are good at music, or they are good at any of the art, or maybe a dance or anything. So we have from the village to block to the district. We have identified those students, and we have engaged those students with this private school, because many private schools run this activity in their school only. So it will help that way also. And some of the children, they are earning in a music team as a DJ or something with their parents, or they have made their group also. So it has helped them also in that way also. And we were able to know the talent of the rural student in a music, or in a dance, or in a poetry recitation, or in a what you call elocution competition, or Sanskrit shloka recitation. So these have helped a lot. And these our urban students, they have not only, but they have also learned from them. So this is also another outcome and benefit. This is beneficial for both of them. It's a win-win situation for both of them. And some of them, they have a emotional bonding also
Okay.
for the lifetime. It's a great thing.
I
When
think
you know,
it's very nice. Yeah, otherwise there's a huge rural and urban divide normally. Yes,
yeah.
I think Nitin is back. Nitin, would you like to show the before, would you like to continue with the presentation? Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. I'll quickly go through also what was earlier and the present.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to see what it looked like before and what it looks like after the redevelopment. I guess the
Yes,
first
ma'am.
picture that you showed was after.
Yes, ma'am. That was conceptualized,
Okay, that was a conceptual one. Okay.
and then I'll show the real one, how it is like this. Just wait, ma'am. Anya, can you help me?
Meanwhile, I would like to request the IAS officers. There are so many in our fraternity. We also have somebody in the central government. So request you all that we can have more speakers. Malini, please, because it's a very breaking webinar. So hearing these three people, I think we can have so many sessions with various.
Yeah, it's the series of webinars has just expanded our horizon to look at topics that you would not look at otherwise.
Because we can get to know the decision makers also. I mean, here you have the entrepreneur, but the decision maker.
Yeah, sure. Nitin, are you ready?
Yeah, ma'am. I'm just taking 2 minutes, ma'am.
We have, I think so, civil aviation, Mr. Karola is an MDM alumni. Then I think so, Mr. Panda, who is the expenditure secretary in the India Ministry of Finance. So there are many.
Yeah, ma'am. So I'll just skip the, this is how it looks like.
So this is the after.
I called her to say that my thing.
This is the actual photograph. This is the actual photograph of the street right now. The stretch one, which is the work, is still under progress. And this is a photograph. If you see there's a central median is of 3.5 meter. On the both side, we have got the NMV lane, then the footpath. And if you see, this was the earlier pictures on the left hand side. The entire street was full of vehicles, congested, polluted, You don't have the place to walk. The pickpocketing was a normal occasion. So these were the pictures of that area. And now this is a picture of the present. And the people are much more happier with this new transformation because it gives them a space to walk. And people don't mind. Even the ridership of the metro station in Chandni Chowk and adjoining area has increased by several lakhs. So we are expecting that by the time this entire project will get completed, the business of this area is also going to see a surge despite of the COVID-19 situation. And Honorable CM of Delhi has also decided that the similar kind of model will be replicated in 7 stretches, which is almost 500 kilometers. So this was a junction of the Seesganj Gurdwara, and now it is so. So the people, those who were against it, are now coming in the favor of it, and the many other markets are also wanting this kind of redevelopment in their area. You will be surprised to know that this is the only market, though it is much congested and which has got much more political overture, but it has never witnessed any protest against this redevelopment. I had several round of meeting with them, the one-to-one meeting with different associations. Their apprehensions were definitely has taken into account, and they have been countered with the facts and figures. As the professors used to tell, if you can't give the numbers, then you're not going to complete the project and complete your energies. So numbers were thrown to them, and the numbers are proving that 3,000 vehicles from this street has gone out within 2 years. And those all people, those were saying ki how hum ghar kaise pahunchenge and all things, they are now happy. So this was Chandni Chowk before,
Wow.
and this was after. And this was a town hall junction, and this is a proposed plaza at the town hall, where we expect that the many more cultural shows might be taking in the evenings, and the grandeur of this particular building will be restored soon. And in fact, we have got around 550 Havelis in the entire area, the heritage Havelis. So we are also thinking of giving some kind of incentives to them, so they also come alive during this year. So this was the before, and now after completion, this is going to be like this. Though there is certain a little bit of variation in the actual picture and the proposed one, but of course the basic element of the road design remains the same. It is giving impetus to the pedestrian cycling. And in fact, if you talk about the SRS talk about the transgenders for the area, of course, the transgenders also here in this area. And we have also got the homeless population, which is almost 25% of the Delhi's homeless population, around 15,000 to 20,000 people are here. Most of them are the migrant laborers, those who come here for the rickshaw pulling or the loading and unloading activities. So definitely we're also going to look into their how they can be rehabilitated, their life can be changed. So that is also one of the thing. And here the street is going to be disabled friendly. Here we are going to have a 1.1 kilometer, 1.4 kilometer here. Another side 1.4 kilometer. We'll have the strip, which will guide the visually impaired people to walk on this street very conveniently. Even the wheelchair can be easily maneuvered through these streets. And as we talked about, the unisex toilets are there. That is also proposed in this area, in the entire stretch. And in the second phase, we are also going to take the adjoining street. And I am happy to say 2 days back, there is another street which is parallel to it, that is called SP Mukherjee Marg, which is in front of the old Delhi railway station. The DPR for the same has been approved. And there is a change in the perspective of the government also. There was a proposed Dangal Medan parking, where around 1,100 vehicles could have been accommodated. So there the government has decided, no, we will go for first the street designing instead of spending money on 300 crores for the creating a parking space. We'll go for rather public transportation, cycling or pedestrian. Because 300 crores giving for the 1,100 vehicles is almost makes it to 30 lakhs rupees per vehicle. So which is this is huge. So now we have to go for a paradigm shift in our policy interventions. that we have to move from the car-centric planning to the people-centric design. And that is how in today's, there is a feature was there in the spotlight of Financial Express today, where also I have said, yes, we have to go for this policy shift, and we have to see that the 3 C's, if we talk about the cycling and the pedestrianization, the 3 C's can be mitigated. When I say 3 C's, it is cough, congestion, and crime. And this idea came, if you see, the Delhi is also known as a crime capital, where the snatching, the street crimes are very high, because the woman is walking on the road, the chain snatching takes place. If we have got a footpath, if we got a cycle lane, definitely this kind of things can be prevented, and it can be much more inclusive. The vendors can be organized in the streets, and the kids can go to the school very conveniently. So we're expecting that Delhi may like to see much more transformation. The walk plan is already for the thrust area in Delhi. So the Chandni Chowk, this project has changed the perspective of the people as well as the government. And they're all in the agreement that yes, post COVID-19, we have to give the impetus to the public transportation, cycling, pedestrianization. So I'll take the questions, whatever and we'll explain more on this. Thank you,
Thanks,
ma'am.
Nitin. Thanks for that. I mean, it's very, very encouraging. A question for you, which is coming from the viewers, is what was done during the redevelopment for what arrangements for alternate traffic and parking? 3,000 vehicles have been removed, but where did they go, and how did you convince them about the traffic reorganization?
Yeah. In fact, this project has begun in December 2018. Before that, we had several rounds of meeting with the traders associations, resident welfare associations, and even the rickshawalas, thelawalas, and many more people, those who take interest in this area and the heritage. So when we're talking about the closing, the biggest apprehension of the government and everyone was, if we close the traffic, then the people may protest about it. So what we have decided, we have engaged with the people, and then we said, in one of those meetings, I remember it was full of traders association, the market associations, as well as a reservoir association. I asked them, everybody, because stakeholder consultation has been remaining very significant in this particular entire redevelopment process. So I asked them, whatever your objections are, please tell us. And all of them have given the objection. At the end, I asked them a very simple thing, that if everyone is complaining and this is a solution, and if you don't find the solution offered by the government is amicably accepted by you, then please suggest an alternative solution. I wanted the solution, I put the ball in their court, but none of them have come up. And after a few hours, everybody except few have agreed, yes, this is a solution. And then we have decided to go for the phase-wise closure of the road. The road which has been closed, because I told you there are 4 junctions here. First junction is Red Fort Junction, second is your Fountain Chowk, third is your Town Junction, and the fourth is your Fatehpuri Mosque. So first we close one side, then we gone for the closure of the junctions. So gradually people have become adapted to this. And if you talk about the numbers, how the number of 3,000 is coming, there was a parking, Gandhi Maidan parking just adjacent to the Fountain Chowk, which used to accommodate around 1,500 vehicles. Chandni Chowk Road used to have around 1,200 vehicles parked at any particular time. And there was another parking, Dangal Maidan parking, which has around 700 vehicles. So when we close the road, 1,200 vehicles from the Chandni Chowk Road has gone. I don't know where they have gone, but yes, they're not there. And then when the Gandhi Maidan parking has also started under construction during the same time, so 1,500 vehicles have gone, so 2,700. And the Dangal Maidan parking, that was around 700 vehicles. So presently it is only parking 200, 300 vehicles, because rest of the area has been taken over by the PWD for the construction, for managing the logistic for the entire redevelopment project here. So if you see that, if somebody asks me where these vehicles have gone, so I tell them, you keep on creating the space for the vehicles, they will keep on coming. But if you stop them, they will also stop. People have been walking these areas. And in fact, if we talk about the inclusive street, that concept was there in India itself. In 1990s, I remember going to the college by cycle, going to the school by cycle. The time the 90s has ended, we all come into the car. And now the Netherlands, we are all emulating the Netherlands model that yes, they have gone for the inclusive street. That was there in India also. So we have to bring it back and
Yeah,
people are ready.
Nitin, I'm going to interrupt and ask you a question. You know, you told us that you did all these negotiations with the traders and the hawkers, etc. But I want to know whether there was, I'm sure many of us would like to know if there was any political interference in this, any leaders who, started supporting. I'm sure there was. Was it very significant, or would you like to share, or it's something that you rather not?
No, I would like to say,
And the
in
same
fact,
question for Praveen, actually.
yeah. See, the political, if you talk about the political support, and yes, uh, the political support was initially, means there was apprehension that this may result into the chaotic situation around the area. So how can we manage? There was then the political consensus was always there that yes, we need to do it, and this is required. So political support was there, which is very tacit, but it was mostly done by the bureaucratic impetus was there. We had around 22 agencies working in this entire area, starting from the MTNL to the Vodafone to Airtel to IGL and all sort of, and bringing them onto the board was a big challenge. And thanks to the High Court, they have appointed a nodal officer for different departments. And I was a nodal officer. Then there was a chief nodal officer appointed by the High Court, Mrs. Renu Sharma. She is additional chief secretary. So she has driven and she used to take the meeting, and all of us were there. But of course, the political tacit support was always there. And when the government has seen it is demonstrated, yes, the government says, well done, we'll go for another areas as well. And
Yeah,
that is what the Honorable Chief Minister supported it. And his thrust was always, if you talk about 2 years, 3 years back, he talked about moving for a green budget. And there also the idea came for the electrical mobility and pedestrian cycling. So
yeah.
this project is demonstrated, and that is given a lot of confidence to the political establishment also. Yes, the government can do it. So we are moving ahead, and the entire political support is there for the
Yeah,
this
thank
kind
you.
of.
Thank you, Nitin. Praveen, would you like to-
Something off the record he will not say, but that is okay, Nitin.
No, that's okay. Yeah,
See.
that's over a fireside chat with you, Nitin. Yeah.
Yeah, Praveen.
Ma'am,
Praveen.
actually, political opposition as such, I didn't receive. Neither political support was there, but when I interacted with few of politician or public representative, they were very keen to understand. Some of them were not knowing, really they were not knowing the problem the trans community is facing on day-to-day basis. But they were very much ready to come forward and to put whatever they were sought for. So I don't think, ma'am, that political class as such is reluctant towards social development of transgender, ma'am.
I see two things. One is, in your case, Praveen, it was a vote bank. So I think that there was an interest, and in Nitin's case, it's against the vote bank. Two different cases.
Maybe, ma'am.
Bhargavi, I'm going to
Maybe.
ask you not a political thing, but how did your bureaucratic colleague, Bhargavi, are you there? Yeah. How did your bureaucratic colleagues look at it? Did they say that this is just one fancy idea? Because sometimes it's not politicians who don't support you, but it's your own colleagues who think that you have a harebrained idea. So,
Ma'am, you are rightly there.
Yeah.
Very rightly you are saying, ma'am. Bureaucratic class, they were very much reluctant, and they thought that it's wishful thinking only, and this kind of things come and goes, and it's not going to be realized very soon. This kind of thing was there, ma'am.
yeah. Bhargavi, how about you? Your experience? Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Bhargavi, unmute. Yeah.
Even you can see those who have the old in Ahmedabad, 50 years, 100 years school, they are very powerful person. They are associated with all the class and of the society. Then our colleague also finding a very fancy idea that you just and then we call all the 51 trustee or their principal or their major operating officer. It is not easy. But at the same time, we have a district primary education officer, DO, and we have an education inspector. And moreover that you have to step down. You don't have to think that you are an IAS officer and you can call and will come. It's not like that.
Bhargavi, there's a huge echo coming. Huge echo.
Yeah,
I think you've got two instruments on, perhaps.
No, only one.
Then just move back.
Yeah.
Echo.
That's so sometimes it is easy for this kind of project. I have this kind of project with the LG University also, where all the files to you can't able to listen or there is a effect. Now
Still an echo. We'll come back to you with the last round of questions because the time is up. People would like to know from each of you, what made you initiate this project and take this forward? What is it? Was it something you learned from AIM or something from personal? So can we start with Praveen and then Nitin and then Bhargavi? I hope she can adjust her mic before that. Yeah.
Actually, ma'am, personally, when I was thinking about myself, I used to think that I know the problems and I'm a kind of person that who is interested in solving the problem. But when I faced the reality of these transgender people, and particularly me, when I was exposed in Manila and I got connection with the transgender person there, then I thought that, okay, upliftment can be there and elevation of these people is possible. And when I got the opportunity, I just put my attempt and hopefully I would succeed.
Right. Nitin?
Well, ma'am, when I came back from AIM, I was looking, whether I'd like to go for routine departments like Celtex, Excise, or some more enforcement kind of a department. But then this opportunity came. There I found, this is the one opportunity where I can apply all my learnings. Because here, then in fact, if you go through that report, which I prepared for the entire Shahjahanabad and which had got the approval till the Chief Secretary of the Government of Delhi, but later it could not move for various reasons, you'll find it was almost like a MRR, what do you call that? MMR.
MRR.
Yeah, MRR, yes. It was more like that, There we have done the SWOT analysis, I have done the rapid area analysis, everything, the monitoring and evolution, how it is going to log frame matrix and everything. And I realized in one of the course in the MDM they taught, which is very interesting, which is about the bridging leadership. Bridging leadership was introduced in our MDM, and there the most important thing is in the government, generally we keep on getting transferred from one department to another, and we fail to own a particular subject. So here when I joined SRDC, I realized that there is one subject which I must start working on, that is on the environmental sustainability of city. And that is where the idea came that pedestrianization and cycling is a thing which I should work, and the car has to go, because by the time the Delhi has been facing the pollution crisis every winter, and which goes, means it is recurring. Sometimes we keep on telling कि पराली जो है वहाँ जल रहा है पंजाब में, हरियाणा में, अरे भाई हमारा local factor जो है उसमें भी हमें काम करने की जरूरत है. So that is where, ma'am, this idea came, and I knew it कि Chandni Chowk is one particular street which can, if we will do it successfully, that can work as a nucleus for the redevelopment which can catalyze. which can catalyze the entire effort which we have been putting for making Delhi a sustainable, environmentally sustainable city. So definitely the AM has made me conscious about my choices, my decisions, and my actions, and understanding the impact of it. So I'm happy to say the impact is there, and which can be quantified, because if you compare the data of 2018 of the Chandni Chowk metro station, and if you compare it with
Yeah.
the data of December 2020, you will see the metro ridership in these areas have gone high. The pollution, your pollution index, if you see, the pollution has gone down. If you see today's newspaper also, one of the traders was saying, earlier it used to be more than 500. It used to be more than 500, but now the last year during the winter, despite of the construction activity,
Okay.
it was not more than 200.
Fantastic.
So that is that's significant.
Thank you,
And
Nitin.
traders,
Yeah.
they say that their businesses have increased by 40 to 60%, though the project is still not completed. The property prices has gone by 300%. So these are the quantifiable things which I can say. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Nitin. Thanks for sharing that. So, Bhargavi, would you like to say what made you take up this? Was it the AIM? Was it your personal?
The AIM also because in the bridging leadership as well as the conflict and conflict management and negotiation.
Yeah, it's still an echo. Unmute. Yes.
AIM has also helped a lot because you cannot listen. It's already unmuted.
Okay.
I think, yeah. I think with that, Nikhil, it's 5:08 now. And I think we've heard I'm very inspired by these three stories, and very glad that AIM has given this inspiration, probably kindled their internal curiosity about certain things. Social marketing and leadership courses seem to have done their bit, and it really nice diversion from the finance oriented, and business oriented webinars we've had. So I hope this has added value to the people who have been listening. Thank you so much, Nikhil, for giving me an opportunity to moderate this. Yeah. Over to you.
I think you stole my closing remarks, Malini. Actually, this is what I'm very happy. When I took over as the president of Indian Alumni Association, I knew that there are so many MDM alumni who are IAS officers. I should share this anecdote. I met one IPS officer, Yashovardhan Azar, and he was a AAA awardee. And I asked him, I said, why the MDM alumni who are IAS are not part of this alumni network? So he jokingly told me कि MDM alumni IAS officer जो जाते हैं वो sabbatical के लिए जाते हैं. I mean, so for them it's a picnic. I went in 1984 paying my own money, so I don't mind. My perspective is different. But today, when I look at all Bhargavi and Praveen and Nitin, I'm happy that this new crop of MDM alumni, and even you, Malini, you have always taken part in all the activities. So my earnest interest is that the four of you should kindly be our explorers in the IAS world among MDM alumni, among the MDM alumni in the IAS world, and give me the feedback. And you know, guys, how resilient I am following up with you. I will leave no stone unturned to get those speakers also. So thank you very much, Nitin. Excellent work done on Chandni Chowk. Praveen, you have just spoken one facet of a transgender thing, but you are additional CEO of Noida, which is a big post. And for that we might require one full day to talk about. Now, new Bollywood coming there. And Bhargavi has done a lot of work in rural development. So you guys are multifaceted. Malini, even after retirement, is extremely busy. She's the chancellor, right? Or
Vice Chancellor. Vice Chancellor.
Chancellor of the Indian Maritime University. So it's a proud feeling. So thank you all, and request you all to give me information, inputs about other MDM alumni in the ISP. Thank you so much, and a big thanks from the AI Network for your work in nation building. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.